crosswalk at 8th and Rhode Island. This is already an intersection where pedestrians, bicyclists cross on a regular basis. My apartment actually looks out over this crosswalk, and I see people crossing through an unmarked crossing on a daily basis, and it can be very scary. I think that the crosswalk is going to go a long ways to helping to protect people who are using this intersection.
I'd like to make a motion support the resolution for medium crosswalk on Rhode Island. Absolutely. People of voice to see.
Seconded by Commissioner Potter. All in favor?
Aye.
And then the final resolution that the Transportation Committee is recommending is right around the corner from this location. We're recommending the installation of a four-way stop at the intersection of 1st Street Northwest and L Street Northwest. And for a traffic safety assessment and traffic calming plan for the stretch of 1st Street Northwest between New York Avenue Northwest and Massachusetts Avenue Northwest. This is in Commissioner Rogers' district. I believe that's true. The 1st Street Northwest is a street where cars use it as a cut through to avoid North Capitol Street. L Street happens to be in a 2-block range where there's no traffic control, and so cars can really gain some speed going through, and they do gain some speed going through this intersection in order to catch the light either at K Street or New York Avenue. Commissioner Rogers was just showing me a police report about a pretty heinous 5-car collision that happened at this intersection. Not only is this intersection dangerous, but it's compounded by the fact that there's a school, recreation center, and a library directly across from this intersection, and so this should be a high priority for the community. So the request would be for the installation of a four-way stop sign here, as well as traffic safety assessment for this corridor between New York and Massachusetts on 1st Street.
Right there on L Street and 1st Street, that little section everybody cut through is a one-way. You shouldn't come off North Capitol Street to go up there. It's got a do not enter sign. It comes off North Capitol Street. So if they cutting through there in violation, like how you say 4-way coming through, right? Got stop sign going this way, and it's not supposed to do not enter. So it really should be a one-way coming out that way. Still should be a stop sign right here because they don't stop. But when the pedestrians come down 1st Street, they don't stop at all. They just keep going because 1st Street traffic comes down off New York Avenue, and like I said, they don't stop because there's nothing to stop them. Plus, you got the school, the recreation center, so they're going to fix that sign on one end and put do not enter plus a stop sign.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that it was one way because
one way.
the sign is.
If you walk down there by the Mount Church, you see the sign say do not enter on both sides. Positive. 20. I've been around 60 years.
Well, before Commissioner Rogers left, he did want me to echo his support for this resolution. Does anybody else have any comments or questions?
Long overdue.
Well, with that, I'd like to make a motion that we support this resolution to request for a traffic safety assessment and traffic calming plan for Florida Ave between Georgia Avenue and New York Avenue.
Georgia?
1st Street, personnel.
Oh, personnel, excuse me, I'm sorry.
I'm going home.
I found out the wrong, I found out the wrong.
That's the Florida Avenue. We'll do that in the next.
Yeah, I'm getting a little ahead of it, sorry about that.
Stretching 1st Street
Yeah,
to New York
between
Avenue.
New York Avenue and Massachusetts Avenue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next hot topic we have, I want to first apologize to my constituents and anybody else who came here for this issue. Initially, we took this up last meeting. In my absence, the commission tabled it for this month. However, when I received the notice, it was, I think, dated April 26th, and said, please submit your objection in 30 days. So I went ahead and submitted the objection. I learned today that the record is still open and the ANC can still take action, and it's not limited by the 30-day notice on the letter I received. So that's why I didn't have it in our original agenda, and I kind of made a mad dash to get it on this agenda and to also put it on Twitter and Facebook. This isn't going to be the only opportunity. Their hearing for this is July 25th. So we can take this issue up again, but the record is closing on the 13th of June, which is why I'm asking the ANC to take action today. I also want to let you all know that I finally did get in touch with the owner of the planned 7-Eleven. It's not a franchise, it is corporate. And what they're planning on doing is something a little unique. It's not going to be your typical 7-Eleven that you see throughout the city and other cities. They started a process in Texas where they have these high-end 7-Elevens. I will post the link. You can probably still get a Big Gulp, but they also are going to have a taco stand, indoor seating, and they want outdoor seating. And it's not this kind of concept that I think we're used to seeing. Nonetheless, I filed an objection last month, and I'm going to ask this commission to file an objection again. And please keep in mind, and I tried to make this clear to my constituents, we're objecting not about the 7-Eleven. That's not our control. If you want to stop the 7-Eleven, go buy the property or go try to take over the lease. What we're talking about is the patio. Now, when I spoke with the owner, they admitted that they went a little too far, and they're going to have to walk it back with the amount of space on the sidewalk. Apparently, according to them, DDOT has communicated that to them as well. But I did want to relay that information to you and give you an opportunity to talk to us about this. But before I go to the audience, I'd like to ask the commissioners if they have any comments or questions.
So we still receive, Alex and I, our emails are on some sort of list somewhere. So we received continuous emails about this past month. So again, there are many issues dealing with the actual brand. We are not here to talk about the brand. And I said publicly last time, there seem to be some classism issues below New York Avenue. You want to buy a hot dog? You want to buy a taco? Well, that's what the email is. Am I correct in the emails received?
There was a small minority.
There's plenty. So, someone wants to have a taco, whatever they're going to be selling at this place, and sit down. I am 100% for it. I think that's all I think. There's no problem. We just voted 20 minutes ago to support tables and chairs in front of Leon. So.
But the issue at hand is Leon is a restaurant.
It is not a restaurant. You are fast casual, correct, Mr. Edwards?
Correct.
Yes. They are not a restaurant.
But
That
they're
is-
going to have workers that are going to
You
maintain.
do, I talked to Mr. Edwards about this, and it's going to be the same. If you're going to have tables and
Is
chairs, they're
7-Eleven
not.
going to maintain the tables and chairs and the
So part of
trash outside?
Part of the discussion that I had, and nothing's been certainly finalized yet, which is why I want to encourage the ANC to protest so we can maintain our leverage, despite the fact that my protest has already been filed, is to work with them to enter into an agreement. I'm not picking on 7-Eleven. I do this with every.
I'm not either.
No, I know
just
you're not.
want to maintain
But
it.
I've gotten a couple emails being like, why are you picking on 7-Eleven? I'm not. You know, I do this with everybody. I'm in a fight right now
They
with
weren't for me either.
with Silo about their outdoor space. I mean, we went to war with Cloakroom over their outdoor space. I mean, I went on Busboys and Poets. I mean, Commissioner Padro had to step in and correct their attorney's interpretation of their plan. I mean, like, this is a sensitive area because it has to do with pedestrians. It has to do with people who are handicapped trying to come up and down the sidewalk. So this is about the patio, nothing else. Yes.
So I'll add that I have a 7-Eleven in my single-member district, and 7-Eleven, that particular 7-Eleven has been one of the worst operated businesses that I have seen in 20 years as a local official. They have been totally uncooperative about the management of their trash. They have been totally uncooperative about all kinds of negative impacts on the neighbors. I actually hold the record with the Public Safety Commission for having removed the most number of payphones in a single application, and part of that was because 7-Eleven, at the time that we had a very serious drug problem at 7th and Rhode Island that was being facilitated by payphones before everybody had one of these. 7-Eleven did not want to listen to what the community had to say, was dismissive of the community's concerns, and spent a lot of money with lawyers trying to keep payphones at their location. So I'm very suspicious about 7-Eleven's motives here. I can also say that in terms of trash generation, that 7-Eleven at 7th and Rhode Island generates more trash that is identifiable from its source than any other business out of the 300 businesses in Shaw Main Street's service area. You can see all the empty pizza boxes, all the empty big old cups all along 7th Street, all along Rhode Island Avenue. They are everywhere. And obviously people should not be disposing of their things or their trash by throwing it on the street, but they are. That's where it's coming from. So to encourage customers of another 7-Eleven to potentially be disposing of their trash by facilitating their ability to consume the products that they're buying at the store in public space, I think is, unless they can, 7-Eleven can convince me otherwise, is not warranted and is not in the public interest.
Have they offered to make a presentation in front of the ANC?
Yeah, because we talked today, they certainly weren't able to bring anybody. So I think because of that, we need to act as if it's going to be the worst thing in the world and we can do all we can. But I'm going to work to get them at our next meeting.
But they agreed to this agreement, right? They were pretty on.
They didn't agree to everything, but they were
liked
open
it.
to it. They were open to it. Yeah. But I mean, a lot of people are open. A lot of people say they're open to it. Yes.
So for this business having tables, is it gonna operate like, usual restaurants down K Street or up in Memphis Street that they have set hours and, after a certain hour, the shares are like brought in or locked up, like a responsible business, or is this gonna be permanent furniture?
Right, if they're out there 24 hours.
Yeah. No. I certainly wouldn't agree to that. And I told, again, echoed to her like I would any business that we have a standard in the Mount Vernon Triangle that people are off the streets. No restaurant has anybody past 11, and they would be expected to follow that as well.
But they kind of indicated what the staff was going to be like. 7-Elevens typically have one manager that runs the whole thing. They have a cafe. We're kind of asking the same question.
Yeah.
Who's going to be policing the outside area? So like, you've got a liquor store that's coming next door. People are going to be able to walk in the liquor store or the 7-Eleven seating area and have their beverages there and, hang out there for as long as they want. Consuming food and beverages from all over. So have they indicated what kind of staff they're going to have there that maintain the area?
They haven't, and I think that's an excellent question. It's something to look into and make sure that's a part of their presentation.
How many tables?
I have the rendering, but it was almost like it was from the storefront all the way up to where the big round planters were. Yeah. Yes.
Could you said sidewalk, so when something like by English, you cannot walk because everybody's table and chair and people and laying down drunk people in front of the bench, which is still left there from Passport's employee or so on and so forth. Is the weather is nice or not nice? So is the sidewalk, should be people walk on it or sit on it and having beverage or noise in or boxing match in the morning?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, that was the basis of my objection. Was that you have like Altistrada, Mandu, they have seating, but you're able to walk on the sidewalk. You're able to walk even on the narrow.
We more road for the cars,
Yeah.
not for the people to sit on. Okay?
No, absolutely.
And 24/7, that's a little too much. I mean, we're supposed to be cleaned up the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I'm here for over 10 years. I still have a little accent, but that's okay.
It's a nice and refreshing pace.
Thank you for listening.
Yes.
just wanted to echo some of the comments that have already been made. I'm hard pressed to think of a 7-Eleven that contributes positively to any of the neighborhoods within the district. I recognize that we can't control whether they lease space, but at the very least, I don't think we should encourage it to extend into our public areas.
And safety is amazing. Safety is not protesting against them.
Do they have standing?
Protest
I mean, I guess, I mean, they certainly could. I don't know if they have. Yeah. Yes.
You mentioned that it's corporate owned. Are there others in DC that are also corporate owned, or are they all franchise? And I'm wondering, I ask that because perhaps that might be a different standard of operation as a, corporate owned. I mean, there's more accountability than an individual franchise.
I mean, possibly. I'm sure if you ask them, they tell you yes. But that's something we should definitely look into.
So I can tell you
Yeah.
that the 7th and Rhode Island one is a Southland Corporation owned. That's the one that we had on the property.
Yes, sir.
I had a question about the idea of having growlers as well as taps. I've seen pictures of 7-Eleven in the trendy upscale one in Dallas. It's like 14 beer taps, and there's growlers and ciders. So is there going to be security? That's basically like, is there going to be like additional security? Like Clyde's has like 3 security
Yeah,
guards.
I can't see myself supporting them having a liquor license. I mean, if they were at this point, I mean, we just approved a liquor license. There's like, was it 3 stores? We have I Street Cellars, now we'll have that one back, and we have Safeway. I would be hesitant to allow another liquor store in the area.
But the Douglas development might have a liquor license.
Well, I mean, Douglas Development's, that's gonna be a restaurant. Oh, yeah.
So I guess my question is, if they're coming in, it sounds like it's a new concept that they're exploring.
Yes.
So there are stores already across the US?
Texas, I think.
There are
6 of them,
Texas?
there's 6 of them
Okay.
somewhere.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what that looks like and kind of see what the crime statistics are that go with it.
Absolutely, and you know what I'll do, as soon as I have this article passed around the commission, but I will post this on my social media, Twitter and Facebook, so you guys can see what we're looking at as well. But yeah, I share your concern. When I wrote that email, I wasn't kidding when I said that I would have probably selected a different convenience store. Like maybe Wawa. Yeah, Wawa would be great.
I've only begged for Wawa.
I think Commissioner Nigro makes some very, very great points. I mean, when you look at other establishments, but at the end of the day, and whether you agree with me or not, Commissioner Padro's right. Not all stores are the same. And that's something that we need to be vigilant about and take this seriously.
Can we stop it?
Well,
Yeah,
you wanna tell Alan.
It's outside.
You wanna tell him to take over the lease. He can open up something else. Yeah.
Buy the store.
I lived in Texas, where I saw the accent. I never see any 7-Eleven, which you talk about.
Yeah.
They have the gas station, some of them, and you can go there, take a private room in the back, and you can use it like a Starbucks. But otherwise, it's just me and John Chris, like you said.
Yeah.
That's not friendship.
I mean, I do, trying to look at this in a positive way. If this is a new concept,
That's positive.
well, if this is something, that can be positive, if this is a concept that could be unique and novel, there's a reason why they selected our neighborhood. I think people were nervous. They're like, oh, our property, we're fine. We're gonna be just fine. So I certainly wouldn't worry one bit about our community, certainly on that front. But I think we have one more item to do tonight. Does anybody have any burning questions? If not, you can always shoot me an email.
No.
Yes?
Don't you need to make a motion?
Yeah.
Are we voting together?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So with that, I'd like to make, this is a throwaway too, but I'd like to make a motion that the ANC 6E protest the application the public space application of the 7-Eleven at the planned 7-Eleven at 504 K Street, and we communicate that to VDOT's Public Space Committee.
On the amendment, I think that it really isn't a protest, it's an opposition.
All right, we can call it opposition.
And I'm happy to second.
Seconded by Commissioner Padro, all in favor?
No.
All right, one opposed. I also want to make a motion that we ask zoning to look into it in the event that it may, having this 7-Eleven may violate the Mount Vernon Triangle intersection sub-area plan. I don't think it does, my reading of it, but it's certainly something we should explore.
I would second.
All in favor?
I'm abstaining.
Okay, one abstention.
So if David, let's ask a question, David came with another name instead of 7-Eleven?
See, for the Wawa's there, right? That's the whole.
Well, I mean, I think any place, if you're gonna, the reason why I'm hesitant about a convenience store itself is because of the transactional, the quick transaction. So really it wouldn't matter to me if it was like some boutique bodega.
That'd be the only place open 24 hours, though.
Well, 7-Eleven or Safeway's open 24 hours. Yeah, but I mean, we still have problems with them.
They don't have
you know?
outside seating.
They don't have outside seating, but I still run into problems. I
The
get
issue
emails
is
all
the
the time
outside
about
seating, who's
people
gonna maintain
leaving
it?
food.
And
It's
is
an
it
issue.
there for 24 hours a day? And who's gonna, because 7-Eleven is not gonna hire a manager that's gonna be taking care of outside space and putting up tables and chairs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's see what we can do.
It's a convenience store, no matter how many tacos they
And
sell.
I'll add from what I've seen in the city, other 7-Elevens, like the 7-Eleven off of Logan,
Yeah.
across from the Shake Shack, they have a bike share rack there. I've seen broken beer bottles right there by the bike share, and they're all coming from the 7-Eleven. So they just have a pattern of mismanagement, or just not caring.
Well, I think the one item that we have to act on tonight, I'm super happy about, and I think it's going to be a lot less controversial, is the support for the Mount Vernon Triangle Community Improvement District's reauthorization as a business improvement district. Obviously, we talked about, I think I live in the best neighborhood in the city because of the SID and the work that Kenyatta does. President Robinson, you have a couple comments, or your work speaks for yourself? Work speaks for itself.
No, it's not mandated, but it's recommended that we receive the support of our ANC, and so I asked Commissioners Marriott and Rogers if they'd be so willing to do so. Commissioner Marriott suggested we bring it before the entire ANC. I feel as if the last few years I've been in this role, we worked very effectively with the ANC do positive improvements, whether it's parks and open space or economic development, transportation improvements, etc. for not only everyone who lives and works within the CID, but around the surrounding area as well. And so we would be thankful if we could support tonight. If you have any questions about the process and why it is we are asking for reauthorization, it's a 5-year. Every bid in DC, there are 11 bids. Noma has one, downtown has one, Georgetown has one, Adams Morgan has one, all over the city. The Wharf has one, and there are going to be many others in a few years. And so we have to go through this process every 5 years. Where the city, the mayor, will authorize us.
Well, with that, I'd like to make a motion that ANC 6E support the reauthorization of the Mount Vernon Triangle Community Improvement District.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. And sorry guys, this is not our last item. We have one more. It's been a long month. I'm sorry. Do we have a representative? Was it 500?
1547.
Oh, yes, sir. Sorry. Thank you for your patience.
Well, thank you for chairing a long evening. I represent the owners of 1547 7th Street. That is the eyesore at the southeast corner of 7th and Q, which has been held up by shoring for the last 8 years. We recently took title to that property. The purpose of this presentation is to give you a status of it, tell you exactly what's going to happen, and give you a timeline. Hopefully, construction will start in about a month. Ambar Restaurant, which is in Barracks Row and it's in Clarendon, will be putting in the same cuisine here, which is Serbian cuisine, It's a restaurant and bar. They have actually had a lease here for a couple of owners, and have been very patient as this thing went its way through the legal process. The building was originally a basement and first floor restaurant with second floor offices for the prior owner. He was to have his apartment on the third floor. We have shrunk the building so that Bar is going to take the basement for a kind of speakeasy bar. In Clarendon, they call it Bubba's, and they have live music, and they have tushy sofas, and it's nice. And on the first floor, they will have a restaurant. The second floor, they will have, in this case, a bar and a retractable roof, which they think is really cool, and we'll see how that plays out. But anyway, and we will review any noise problems that may be associated with that before that's approved. It has gone through the DC Department of Permitting Services after realizing that the property was permitted and having to pull the permit because it was illicitly obtained by the prior owner, has been very cooperative in expediting this before any of the walls fall down. So, the remaining issue with this is the zoning reviewer noted that when this project went to the Board of Zoning Adjustment to BZA, there were a number of items that were approved. Our need to go to BZA is diminished substantially because the building is smaller. We've eliminated the office, we've eliminated the apartment, all those uses are gone, it's a single-use building. However, what the code says is whenever there is a substantial change to a BZA approval, whether it is becoming less compliant or more compliant, you still have to recognize the change in compliance. So for that reason, we are here to answer any questions and to solicit the ANC support on this.
What address is this again?
1547 7th Street, next to the...
It looks like something like Tara from Gone with the Wind.
Yeah, it was a liquor store
Yes.
years ago. We actually, interestingly enough, we don't have rats there. We don't have there's no food in there. And it should be done and turned over to the tenant around the first of the year. And there's hope that they'll open in April and May. Yes, sir.
Yeah, did I hear you say they weren't rats down
In that building. I didn't tell you what's around the building.
Okay.
In the building, because I go in there periodically, we have never had any evidence of rats. There's no food in there.
I live at 6 in Q, and we, like the rest of my neighbors, we have rats around here, so.
I'm sure that's...
And I didn't know, what is the business that's gonna be in there?
It's a restaurant and bar.
Okay. So,
we live across the street.
yeah, I'd like to know, what's going on, because I remember this is like a story from hell, it was like.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's not experience. Top 4, we need an update, Alex.
So, when it was still owned by Warren Williams, and that's Warren Williams' son of the original Warren Williams who owned the liquor store going back to about 50 years.
Yeah, I remember the old man.
Had leased the space to what was then the operations manager for Richard Sandoval's restaurants. And so he actually lived at 705 Q Street. And then when he left, he basically got as part of his going away package that lease that had been signed for a restaurant. Now it has a liquor license already in place. We're going to have to review the settlement agreement because of the changes related to this potential retractable roof, because that's a whole other area. But that's not what we're discussing today. So presuming that everything moves forward, and the restaurant is able to do their build out, we will be having a discussion about their liquor license. Is that for you some clarity?
Yeah, no, because I thought also I heard him talk about entertainment and stuff, and like we already, what happens when those restaurants, what do you call it, close down at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning on 7th Street, and also when Dasha had this big thing, they wanted to have music, and we said, you trying to bring the beer garden, not the noise. And so I just want to.
So again, when this comes up for review based on the changes to the plans, certainly I'm happy to work with Mr. Brown and whose single member district is located to make sure that we address those concerns.
The roof, by the way, isn't part of this permit. So you'll have additional opportunity to comment because the tenant is going to be installing the roof. So with respect to noise and other issues, that's at a later date when the tenant applies for that.
Do we have any questions or comments? We have comments from the zoning committee?
Well, basically, because this project was previously approved by the ANC, and they're basically diminishing the size of the building, they were the right to do all of those things. We basically looked at what they proposed, and we don't have any issues with what it's going to be. It's a small building, and originally it's planned for a restaurant. So we approved it.
Commissioner Powder, would you like to make a motion?
If Mr. Brown has no objection. So I would move that ANC 6C communicate to the Board of Zoning Adjustment that we are in support of minor flexibility as required by section A 304.10 of the original BZA order 18762 for the alteration, addition, and repair of the property located at 1547 7th Street Northwest. As there is actually a reduction in the overall amount of relief that is required, and in support of these amendments and the issuance of permits for construction to proceed.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. All right, and with that, we're on to old business.
Okay, so this is a pretty big deal, old business for the people who are on my Facebook page and what I'm talking about. So as you are aware, there is a very large transportation project going down, or up and down New Jersey Avenue. It affects 6004 significantly, especially the 1200 block of New Jersey Avenue. The constituents on that block have requested to see if DDOT has ever gotten a certain historic approval, because this goes through the historic area. And it turns out it's looking like DDOT has not gotten a certain historic approval needed. That said, the residents of that area have sued the government. So today there was a hearing, and there is, and I stand behind my constituents 100%, I'm with my constituents. There is a hearing that lasted about 2 hours today. We're waiting to see, the hearing will continue again tomorrow, to see if there will be a TRO, a temporary restraining order for the construction work. Trees are in jeopardy, all this type of stuff. So the difference is